morning. Guten Morgen. And welcome to the 10th Global Peter Drucker Forum. My name is Tatyana Mamut. I am an anthropologist and technology executive in Silicon Valley. I've built and led teams at Amazon Web Services, Salesforce, and IDEO. And I am so excited to be back in Vienna, which was my family's first stop into capitalism when we fled the Soviet Union as refugees in 1978. So thank you. And 200 years ago, the originator of modern economics, Adam Smith, wrote that economic growth was driven by two forces acting in perfect harmony: self-interest and fellow feeling. That was the original notion of the invisible hand. But this idea of fellow feeling or sympathy for other human beings was largely lost until Peter Drucker brought that idea back, that the human and the cultural and the social were key drivers to economic growth and our well-being. Over the next 2 days, we will not just return to these roots, but we will advance new ideas about how the human and the social and this human dimension can help us advance humanity in this era of incredible technological disruption and change. So it's with that we return to the human dimension and remind ourselves that the human is not just something that we focus on to make ourselves feel good, but that it is imperative and important to advancing both economic and social progress. This forum, of course, could not be possible without the founders who 10 years ago thought of this incredible idea, Ilse and Richard Straub. I'd like to welcome to the stage now one of the founders of the forum, Dr. Richard Straub. Richard, tell me why you and Ilse thought about creating this forum 10 years ago, and we have a jubilee year. So what was the intention of this forum when you started it?
I must say, in some way, we stumbled into it. When we found out that the centenary of Peter Drucker was coming up, we said it would be really a pity and even a shame if we wouldn't do something in Vienna, that in his city of origin, we should remember him and celebrate him. And so we started we tried to find somebody who would do that. At the end, it turned out it had to be us. And when we got the enthusiastic support of his widow, of Doris Drucker, we decided to jump and to start this initiative. And so here we are now.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. So this year we have a jubilee year. And what are you most excited about the next 2 days? What do you want the audience to know and to focus on over these next 2 days?
Yeah, so excited. I think I can say that. I'm really excited. I mean, I never thought about that we would get to the point of 10 years Peter Drucker Forum. So for the next 2 days, I believe it will be essential that we create something together, like that some momentum around this notion of the human dimension is created. I think we have many people who are in some way like-minded, but still things are going in different direction. And today, we have a situation where the human dimension could be considered under siege. So what will be extremely important is to find the common ground, to find in which direction we should move, and to enhance this momentum, and maybe to create something like a movement together.
That's amazing. Certainly we have the thought leaders and the leaders in business here that can do that. So who are some of the people that made this forum possible?
So I always say we don't have traditional transactional sponsorships, but we have partnerships. And I think that's very important to keep in mind. Quite in addition to the speakers who give their time, the thinkers who come here to contribute, we have these organizations who in a way have skin in the game, who commit to it and with whom we have a strategic partnership. We started yesterday already with the events that you can see on this slide, the Innovation Leadership Summit, and we have partners who are particularly supporting us with the young generation. That's a key element of the Drucker Forum, that we are not only focusing on the established management group, but really young generation. So you can see here quite a number. We have key media who are supporting us globally, like Financial Times, Harvard Business Review. Can you move next? And of course, we have the large sponsors who are helping us to put this all together, and you will hear more from them during this next 2 days.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard, and thank you for making this forum possible for all of us.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, for joining us, and I would also like to thank those whom you don't see in this room, who are on the live stream and watching.
Yes. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you.
So as we already heard, this conference would not be possible without the tremendous intellectual help and support by our main sponsors and members of our International Advisory Board. So right now, I'd like to welcome up 3 of our top sponsors. Our top sponsor partner, Executive Director of Brightline Initiative, Ricardo Vargas. Our Platinum Plus partner, Vice President of the Scrum Alliance, Renata Lerch. And our Platinum partner, the Chief Executive Officer of Emergn Limited, Alex Adamopoulos. Okay, come on up. Ricardo, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's really a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you very much, Tatyana. For many of you, Brightline initiative is still unknown. So let me try to explain who we are. Brightline is a non-commercial, not-for-profit, fully funded think tank dedicated to help executives to bridge the expensive and unproductive gap between strategy design and delivery, between ideas on paper and results. Brightline is led by the Project Management Institute, the leading project management association that serves more than 3 million project managers worldwide. And to create Brightline, PMI joined forces with the Boston Consulting Group, Saudi Telecom Company, Bristol Myers Squibb, Lee Hatch Harrison, Agile Alliance, Technical University of Denmark, and very recently, NetEase, the 5th largest internet company in China. The initiative was launched just 1 year ago with the intent of conducting research, capability building, and awareness activities like the one I'm doing right now, in order to stimulate and pursue discussions on some basic questions like why some organizations succeed on transforming themselves and others don't. What do they do different from others, and what do they think and how do they think and drive change? Around the same time last year, Brightline debuted at the Drucker Forum as a partner and sponsor. This year, we decided to enhance our engagement and partnership with the forum. And why? Because we truly believe we must develop a movement that is able to transform organizations and the society in a positive way. We must work together on that. And it's impossible to create a better society alone. And Brightline wants to support this joint aspiration. And I'm happy today to share now publicly that Brightline, Richard, is ready to partner, support, and engage with the Drucker Forum for the upcoming years. And Richard, this is now on the records, okay? Now you can count on us for the forthcoming years, for sure. This first year was really great for our intent. Books, articles, and other contents were downloaded by thousands of people worldwide. 6 weeks ago, we released our first online course with Coursera. Right now, we have almost 5,000 people registered. We worked with TED to create a TED Brightline Saloon, where nearly 20 talks took place, with more than 14 million views. And all of this we did for free. People can access the website, watch, download, and use the content. This is what Brightline is about. Connect ideas to results and get things done. And with the same mindset that drove Brightline since its foundation, today I want to announce the release of our second book. You have them in your bags. The Chief Strategy Office Playbook, a collection of insights and advice from thinkers worldwide about the role of the Chief Strategy Officer. This book was produced in partnership with Thinkers 50, and it's available here and also on the internet for download. And of course, it's also free. The second announcement I want to make is directly related to the topic of this conference, the human management, the human dimension. We are releasing today the results of a global study we did with Quartz Creative about what we can learn from crisis mode. Every time the society of organizations face a crisis, something changes immediately. The behavior, the motivation, the drive for action. I will never forget one personal story about the Ebola outbreak in 2014. At that time, I was the director for project management at the United Nations. And I could see very closely the crisis coming at an extremely fast pace. Every single person that was in the region was keen to leave the place immediately. People were being quarantined. Most commercial flights were canceled, and many insurance plans stopped covering the workers in that area. On our side, we could not force anyone to leave their homes and join the humanitarian teams there. It was too risky. The only option was to make a call for volunteers. When our HR team sent a note to all staff at the UN Office for Project Services, trust me, we received more than 100 people that offer to go as volunteers. Let me repeat, more than 100 people decided to leave their homes with all comfort and safety to go to face death, panic, and chaos. This is the kind of driving force a crisis brings, a new mindset. And we decided to study more this field to try to address the fundamental question: what do we need to do so that this driving behavior is sustained in normal conditions. What is required for that? Aligning with the theme, you also received in the attendee bag a people manifesto that we released 1 month ago during our conference in New York. It is meant to be a living document. People form the link between strategy, design, and delivery. They turn ideas into reality. They are the strategy in motion. Success requires a deep understanding of the fundamental complexity of this trickiest element, our people. And finally, in a very personal way, I want to ask you just one thing. We are here today in one of the most prestigious events on management. We are about 1,000 people. We were all so blessed in life to have education, opportunities, love, and all fundamental human rights. Unfortunately, outside this room, there are billions of people who are not that fortunate. No food, no education, no opportunity, and no love. We must make society prosper for all of us. We must make businesses, government, and not-for-profit organizations efficient for a more inclusive and better world. This is what really matters. And please remember, what feeds people is food. It's not your grocery list. Thank you very much and enjoy your forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo. Next up, Renata.
Thank you. And let me also welcome you to this event on behalf of Scrum Alliance. Scrum Alliance is very proud to be here in what is our 6th year as a sponsor of this event. This forum is one of the most important venues in the world for discussing both the theory and the practice of management. And this year's theme is particularly exceptionally interesting for those of us in the agile transformation space. For decades, the ideas behind deterministic management treated the individuals in organizations as a problem to be solved rather than a resource to be tapped. The unit of analysis was the corporate structure itself rather than the individuals that inhabited it. Fortunately, many leaders have sought better ways of management, ways that are more innovative, more agile, and more focused on enabling individuals rather than controlling them. Peter Drucker himself wrote for years about the practice of management as a means of unlocking human potential. But now, many organizational leaders are showing an increasing degree of openness towards new ways of working. And part of Scrum Alliance's mission is to convince the rest of them. This is why we recently partnered with a team at Forbes to develop original research into what C-level executives know about Agile, think about Agile, and want to achieve with Agile. This is important, compelling work. The research team at Forbes surveyed over 1,000 C-level executives across the globe and had lengthier conversation with several more. This research gets right into the heart of the tension between technology and humanism. Of the executives we talked to, all pointed to three key pieces of any successful transformation, and they are not that hard to predict. They are leadership, talent, and culture. The leaders of the most successful companies we talked to are all about people, how to lead them, to develop them, and establish a culture in which they can thrive. J. Walter Thompson CEO Tamara Ingram told Forbes, "Talent works at the speed of culture." And she added, "Leadership is about knowing how to encourage collaboration by setting a clear vision and putting the right talent in place." I would also point to the comments of Terry Bresingham, Chief Innovation Officer for GE Healthcare, who said, "It's up to C-level executives to increase organizational agility by provoking thought, challenging ideas, and fostering a more agile mindset." People will always be the competitive edge. Artificial intelligence is something that we can buy. It's technology. But it's the human capacity to guide, interpret, and use the technology that will be the differentiator. We are going to see machine learning and artificial intelligence encroaching on what was previously the human domain, even in creative fields. And if we are not careful, that will lead to a reversion of the old ways of doing business, where individual creativity was limited by technocratic directives. We must avoid that. As technology changes faster than ever, the issues addressed by this forum are arriving with even more immediacy. The questions raised over the next 2 days could not be more timely. How can a strategy be developed and work reliably performed in times of greater pressure and increasing instability? What is the place we give to humans in organizations? And I would add, how can we be more agile? Thank you, everyone.
And last but not least, Alex.
Good morning, everyone. Like my colleagues, I'd like to offer a perspective on reflection of this year's forum. If you've read the abstract, one of the opening questions this year was, what would robots do if humans took over? I guess this is one of the questions that many of us are trying to answer. Freeman Dyson, the physicist who took over for Einstein at Princeton, famously said that you cannot replace an analog mind with a digital mind. He also went on to say something very interesting. I do not believe that machines that think exist, or that they are likely to exist in the foreseeable future. If I am wrong, as I often am, any thoughts I might have about the question are irrelevant. If I am right, then the whole question is irrelevant. Given this important topic, I'd like to suggest that the most important players for managing the impact of technology in the workplace and on the workforce will continue to be business leaders. Many of you who are joining us today know that this is true. Business leaders are keenly aware of their responsibility. It's not strictly an IT issue. In addition to looking at things like bottom lines, the bigger picture implications of technologies like AI need to be understood and repeatedly talked about. Again, a reason we are here today. And rather than framing things like AI as a matter of how do I reduce costs, how do I increase my profit margins, as leaders we need to think a little differently. What can I do tomorrow that I haven't been able to do today or until now? How will the people we employ and those we touch be impacted? We often hear people say that education is the right answer for how we address and solve many of society's issues, many of the business issues we face. I must say in this case, our experience in working with some of the world's largest organizations and talking with their leaders tells me that the most critical thing that business leaders can and must do in preparing their companies for a future of advanced technology and automation is to promote continuous education for their people. The most valuable thing a company has is domain knowledge in its workforce. It's the employees who understand the customer, the products, what they're delivering, what they're facing on a day-to-day basis. The challenge we're facing isn't so much about AI and workers per se, it's more about what the next generation are being taught. Think about technical skills in schools that could very well be outdated the minute they hit the job market. Instead, we need to give our people the tools and opportunities to be constantly absorbing new ideas and new ways of working and thinking, so they're always keeping up with this pace of change that we're all so concerned about. Since AI seems to be a topic of choice, one other important distinction I'd like to make that's worth stating as we head into the forum is that AI is not the same thing as automation. In the words of my friend, Dr. Felix Hovsepian, who I consider an expert in all things AI, AI is the science, and automation is how we use that solution to solve the problems in our lives. As with any new science, there are pros and cons. How we use that science is up to people. There is no inherent way AI will drive up mass unemployment or mass employment unless we make it do that, for example. In fact, we can create an amazing amount of opportunity for everyone if we're thoughtful and mindful. AI and automation will open the door for scores of new job opportunities. I think we know it's true for those of us that have been around long enough and have seen the scores of work created through technology, things we couldn't even imagine 20 years ago with the internet, now we're seeing as possible. What will happen in the next 100 years? Some other considerations. Robots are not human beings. They're not even close. Machines are not going to be raising our kids or tending to our elderly parents or grandparents. There is no substitute for the human touch in these environments. But what they can do is take over some of the tasks around the sidelines so that the human caregivers and those in leadership roles can be focused entirely on the things that only they can do, the things that matter most. And there's no more danger to a robot replacing a human as there is to a vacuum cleaner replacing a human. The vacuum makes cleaning the house easier, for sure, but it doesn't completely take away the job of cleaning. Recently, we spoke with some leaders in business and technology in some of the world's largest organizations. And we asked them this year in preparation of the forum, what is their view around the human dimension and the advancement of technology? I'd like us to take a couple moments. We'd like to share that video with you now.
A lot of people in organizations find transformation quite a scary concept.
I look back and think, how on earth did we keep the wheels on the bus?
Never had we seen retail changing as rapidly as it was, and never had we seen technology changing at that pace as well.
I thought that the talent that was necessary to actually take the steps forward in digital transformation would flood through the doors. Because we're mission-based, we work on life-saving and life-enhancing therapies. Let me tell you, there's a lot of choices for the talent.
We spend a tremendous amount of energy hiring the best and the brightest. And we feel that if people are able to manage hobbies and businesses and mortgages and sending kids to colleges, well, they're definitely in a great place, in a good position to make a lot more decisions around what they work on, who they work with, and how to get the job done.
The gap for me is the concept of the authentic organization. I can't imagine an organization that is not pulled along by the need to transform. You wake up every morning and you feel it.
you don't mandate innovation. You don't ask innovation from people. You have to create an environment and experience where they feel they can take the risk.
So management of the human element, and my role within the healthcare system is, of course, our customers, our products is a human. Our team members are also humans who are also our customers, right? So it's easy to understand and sympathize and empathize with our customers because that is us.
The human element is, is the start and the finish. Sure, we can let technology take over and do the heavy lifting, but the fundamental understanding of the lived experience is the thing that only really human beings can curate and understand successfully.
Leadership has a lot to do with the vision that you set forward and the stick-to-itness that you have around the vision. Management is the really hard work to figure out which step goes first and which one comes next, and being able to role model and fail in front of everyone.
It's pretty clear that it's done one mind at a time. It's completely about people.
One closing thought I'd like to offer. The German philosopher Hegel was quoted as saying, "History has taught us that we've learned nothing from history." While that's a blanket statement in some regards, let's not over-exaggerate how technology and humanity will blend. I wish you an inspirational and educational forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ricardo, Renata, and Alex. Thank you.